People often ask me, what do I think is the biggest barrier for people becoming a Christian? And my answer actually surprises them. They think it's going to be some intellectual question like, how do I know I can trust the Bible? Or why is Jesus any different than any other religious leader? Or what makes the Christian experience so unique? But as important as those questions are, and as important as the answers are to those questions, I really don't think those are the real issues as to why someone in the final analysis doesn't become a Christian. Now, I think the real issue is surrender. I think especially for men, the issue of control is what is at the bottom line of most of their decisions. People are hesitant to surrender the control of their life to Christ. And let's face it, that's the issue. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 16 that if you want to be one of my disciples, you have to deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. The call to follow Christ is a call to surrender our lives, surrender our will. It's a call to look to God rather than ourselves. It's a call to trust in Christ's atonement rather than our good works. Becoming a follower of Christ means we surrender our lives to Christ. I was talking to a guy one time. We were at a Coco's restaurant, and he approached me after one of our men's Bible studies and asked if I was a Christian. I said I was. And he began to share some of the struggles that he was having, and they were real struggles. And as I listened to his sharing of his life and his situation, it really became apparent to me that his deepest struggle wasn't actually what was happening to him, but the way he was responding to what was happening to him. So I had him hold out his hand, and I took a quarter from my pocket and I put it in his hand, and I said, make a fist. And he made a fist real tight, and I said, now I want you to try to stop me from opening up your fist into an open palm. And he said, okay. And as I began to pry his fingers loose, his face was grimacing as it really hurt him for me to open up his fingers. And finally I did, and I took the quarter out, and I asked him, how did that feel? And obviously he said, well, it hurt. And I said, well, let's try it this time. And I said, rather than a closed fist, open up your palm and keep it open. And I placed the quarter in there. And I said, now I'm going to take the quarter from your hand. He said, okay. And I reached and I took the quarter out of the palm of his hand. And then I asked him the same question, how did that feel? And he said, well, I didn't feel anything. And I said, let me tell you what I think is happening in your life. I think that you are holding so tightly to your life that what you're feeling is not just the symptoms of what's going on, but you're feeling a loving God trying to get your attention. You're feeling a loving God doing whatever it takes to get a hold of your heart, but you're holding so tightly to it that it hurts. Wouldn't it be much simpler and far less painful for you to just fully surrender your heart to Christ? That seemed to make sense to him. And in fact, that opened the door of a very significant conversation about the gospel of Jesus Christ and how what he needed more than anything else was to have his sins forgiven and to have the God of the universe come into his life and change him from the inside out. Well, I believe that there are real intellectual barriers that people have, but I think the biggest barrier is the barrier of the will. The bottom line for someone becoming a Christian and becoming a follower of Jesus Christ is, are they willing to surrender their whole life to Christ?